Alright guys, thanks for rejoining us on another episode here. This is part 2 to our Champions League review. I'm still here with Chad. We're going to go into the Ajax versus Juventus tie. Ajax definitely probably amongst the more surprise names given in this quarterfinals given who their opponents were. Ajax took on the European champions in Real Madrid and beat them by a score of 5 goals to 3 aggregate. And we look at how good they have been. They finished 2-1 in Amsterdam in the first game, finished 4-1 in the Bernabeu. Could have very well been and should have been 2-2 in Amsterdam, but VAR wrongly ruled out a goal. And across this time, Real Madrid were very, very poor. They lack leadership, they lack bite, they lack grit. Even at, I believe it was 3 goals down, they scored, and you still felt like, are they really going to come back? Do they have it in them? You felt, given the history of how big of a club they were, that they should have come back. But that was all. You didn't really feel like if this team had that comeback in them, to come back from 3 goals down. Before we go to Ajax, I just think this is the season that Real Madrid asked for. We look at the seismic player that is Cristiano Ronaldo. You don't replace, I feel like everybody has said this already, but it needs to be said. You do not replace a 50-goal player with a 20-goal striker and hope that your injury-prone winger who hasn't had a full season fully fit at Real Madrid yet, or a budding young Spaniard in Marco Asensio to suddenly bring up 30-plus goals in him. You don't just do that. You are literally asking for trouble. And we look at how their midfield had been aging. We look at the turmoil surrounding their managerial positions and whatnot, where they're already on their 3rd manager for the season. This is the season Real Madrid have been asking for. And I guess it's a rebuilding job that's on. They already have started, as we mentioned earlier, in signing Militao in the back. But there have been so many problems that Real Madrid have been asking for this season. Varane coming off a couple years, in my opinion, of playing at a very, very top level where, I was one of the men advocating for him to be ranked, if not the top 3, as the number 1 defender in the world, possibly even up there for Ballon d'Or winner, given winning the Champions League and winning the World Cup. Has had a very, very bad season, given how bad he has played, given Carvajal hasn't been there, the defense has been left definitely exposed. Courtois having a horrible, horrible, horrible season. A signing which they did not need to make. It's just so many questions surrounding Real Madrid at this point in time. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to Ajax. Ajax took their chances. Ajax made their chances. One of my players of the group stage, Dusan Tadic, showed why with a fantastic performance both legs. Definitely coming out stronger in the Bernabeu to put Real Madrid to the sword. And overall, Ajax definitely deserve this win. We look at the style of football Ajax play. The people are saying it's the return of the old Ajax. I'm not too sure if we're there yet, but we are definitely seeing a young core of players who unfortunately are going to break up. The young already going to Barcelona this summer. The
also looking to sign Dulitz.
Yeah. But Ajax have always known that they weren't going to hold on to these players. Even when Ajax was successful, their players were in and out like a revolving door. And what they made their name on was, while they were there, they were successful. And Juventus, again, another tie where they are overwhelming favourites, and rightly so. But again, don't count anybody out. Last thing on Real Madrid, I just really think that Zidane has a big job on his hands now. It was very easy for him before, in the sense of Ronaldo's big game tendency to be able to pull them out, which is why they were always successful in the Champions League compared to only one success in the league under him. Again, big game tendencies and not being able to be that sealed consistent. If ever anybody has listened to Zidane's press conferences before, they know that he always says that the league is bigger for him. And the reason being is because, again, it has been such a mental hurdle for them to find domestic consistency, which is why, Barcelona have been winning things left, right, and center, And I do think that he is capable of it. I do think that he is talented in the squad, but I think there's a lot of turnover that needs to be done. I think Modric should probably be looking to move on at this point in his career. I think that they need to make a serious decision about Bale and his fitness. Benzema is getting up there in age. Ramos is getting up there in age as well. They have 2 top class keepers. Which one are they keeping? There are some really good young talents in there. Are they going to let them play? Regulion, Dani Ceballos in midfield. We look at Lucas Vazquez being a squad player. What role does he play? A lot of questions I need to answer. Juventus, the man himself.
The man, the Don, the Stan.
When, off the top of your head, Chad, if you had to choose one team in the world, before that time, right? One team in the world that you don't want to defend a 2-0 lead going into their home stadium, would you have chosen another team other than Atletico Madrid?
No.
Nobody else.
No.
I mean, Diego Simeone has built this team on 1-0 wins. Yeah. You gave him a 2-0 lead already. He's like, okay, cool, that's it. And I mean, Diego Godin might be older, but as we saw in the World Cup, he is definitely not near his end yet as a top level defender. I think they did miss a little bit of balance in the back with Felipe Luis and Hernandez not being able to play, with the result of Juan Fran playing at left back, where Ronaldo took advantage of him, definitely drifting out to the right for the crosses, which resulted in the first goal. But there would be some contentions on this tie. VAR again rule out Morata's goal in the first leg, which probably should have stood. But at the same time, VAR also ruled out a goal very early in the Juventus win. That could have been a goal. I think it was either Chiellini or Ronaldo. I can't remember this one.
Oh, it was Chiellini.
Yeah. And, when we talk about these mistakes VAR has been making, it will never be perfect, but I do think that we should be striving. As much as I don't like the idea of having to wait 2-3 minutes for games to restart, I do think that as professionals we should be striving towards getting as much things right in the game. But again, Ronaldo, the man for the occasion, is like it was written in the stars or written in a WhatsApp group message between him and Evra that he was going to win.
After such a terrible performance in Atletico.
Yeah, and it was really bad in the sense that, he was anonymous. It wasn't even like a case of Oblak making tons and tons of saves.
Because everyone knew, okay, he's going back to Madrid, Atletico Stadium, where he was prolific before.
Definitely.
And he came and did nothing. And
the thing is Allegri showed his tactical hand in this game, playing players that you did not expect him to play. He found that Alexandra wasn't doing well enough. He found that Bala wasn't doing well enough. He found the usual pair of wingers in Cuadrado and Douglas Costa aren't up to scratch. So he mixed it up, bringing a few set of new players that he thought would have did the job they asked for. Bernardeschi, fantastic game, top game from the Italy international. We look at Mandzukic playing. Dybala had to be on the bench. Spinazzola making his Champions League debut, and another great game from him. Like we say, it was written in the stars for Ronaldo to come up big on the occasion. In both games, his scores could have been more. But I just think this was such another poor showing from Atletico. I mean, they are teams that are built for knockout competition. When we look at the fact that they are very good at scoring and sitting back and defending their lead. And they are built for knockout competition like that. And you expected more, especially from the investment done this year. 100 million spent on Thomas Lemar alone. Along with bringing in players like Gelson Martins, who actually left on loan. They brought in Alvaro Morata, who's actually done pretty well since reaching. They spent heavily into getting the squad up to scratch, so content for titles again. And it's really disappointing the fact that they went 2-0 up, could have been 3 or 4, and they came out in the second leg of this, and like from the get-go they were willing to just sit back and defend. And I do think that in ties like this where 3 goals could overturn you should at least go out, and if you concede 1 while you're looking for a goal, fine. But you go out looking for the away goal, because the away goal would have killed the tie. Like, kill the tie. They would have needed 5 to go through. 4, my bad. And that's a lot you're expecting Atletico to concede, which is, you didn't even expect them to concede 3. But anyways, Juventus are true. Again, overwhelming favourite versus Ajax. I do think that they will lock in to some extent, but like me and Void talk about time and time again, big teams create their own luck. Juventus to go through. Yeah. And one of the biggest, if not the biggest, definitely the biggest on a marketing scale, Manchester United versus Barcelona, 2 of the biggest brands in world football, hitting it out in the quarterfinals. Manchester United defeated PSG in a very surprising turn of events after Mbappe and company managed to win 2-0 in England. Romelu Lukaku led the line in France as he came back 3-1. This was a game where you would say PSG shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah.
You know, PSG did really well, and I think Thomas Tuchel did very well in the first leg tactically, you know, to remove Pogba from the game, to get inside his head, and to, on top of that, score some really good goals. Again, could have even been more in the first leg. But then in the second leg, we look at where I actually don't think it's his fault per se. You can't, I don't think you could blame a coach too much for individual errors, especially from more experienced players.
Yeah, you can't. You have Thiago Silva making these mistakes in the back.
We have Gianluigi Buffon making these mistakes. And these are 2 players that you would think at such a high level where they have been there and won that. Not necessarily Champions League, but they've been there and won things that you would expect them to be able to be a little bit more mature and professional in these situations. But Manchester United didn't want to hear any of that, and again, that's not their regard. You take advantage of the situation that's given in front of you. They were considered to be doing Mission Impossible here, and they did that. Romelu Lukaku very much on his feet to score 2 really good goals. Marcus Rashford smashed a penalty, and after a little controversy, after VAR awarded a penalty, but the only reason I would say it is a penalty is that when he jumps, he turns his back to goal, and I think the second that you turn your back, you're kind of just leaving it up to the keeper. You're not really having an argument for yourself, because when you turn and your arms are swinging, it's very easy for the referee to say you are not in control of your body. And when it hits his hand there, it's understandable why it is given. The tie could have been a very key point to me. This tie was when Mbappe broke through 1v1 versus De Gea, and he tried to round him, failed at doing that, and didn't score. But my point is that if he scored there, I think the tie would have been over, and I think that's like a little bit of more maturity needed in his game in that moment in time. Not saying anything about him. Definitely one of the biggest talents, if not the biggest young talent, still a teenager in the world. But I think with a little bit more maturity, he would have, and a little bit more experience, he would have scored in that situation. Because if you watch that, he tried to run the keeper and kind of slipped and lost the ball a bit. Where I think that if it was, not to put him up there, but if it was a Messi or Ronaldo, they would have made better decisions towards scoring.
I mean, I agree, but I wouldn't be hard on him.
Right.
Because, yeah, he's been very, very good the past couple of years. But
right.
At the same time, how to say this? He's very young still.
Yeah.
He's prone to making mistakes.
Yeah.
And to me, if it's the rest of the team who has been there before in that situation, and they clearly did not learn from that.
Yeah.
You know, and that is unacceptable for a team like that. Because you can't be winning the league all the time. Signing these big players. I mean, Neymar wasn't available.
Yeah, Cavani had just come up from injury. Yeah.
Right? But it's the rest of the team.
Yeah.
You know?
So on the other side of the tie, we have Barcelona. Barcelona out 5-1 winners in the camp after 0-0 in France. Messi at the heart of it again, 2 goals, 2 assists. Messi has been what's the word for it?
Amazing.
Nothing short of supernatural this season.
Yeah, because you see
Most
that Tyan
goals.
went and scored a hat-trick there and it just make me kind of sad.
Most goals, most assists, most chances created in Europe. Before the PSV game in the group stage, he came out and gave a little speech saying that everything they say is focused on the Champions League. And they have definitely done that, with the exception of probably the Tottenham tie at Barca, where they finished 1-0 after they already qualified and they put essentially a B squad. Barca has been destroying the Champions League this year. We look at how they obliterated Tottenham in Wembley, and you know, I do think that I personally think this Barca is even very much capable of making at least the finals, and they have been so good. Is the reason I think that they would get through. Something that I don't think people are noting is that Valverde has made them a lot more stable defensively. Piqué is having one of his best seasons in recent times, where a lot of people question his ability and his focus, if he wasn't too focused on football. Lenglet, the young Frenchman, has stepped up in Umtiti's place, which is why Umtiti can't even get back into the squad after his red card earlier this year. And I think that there's a different to Barcelona. There isn't this all-out exploding team, but with a better, defensive backline, and with Messi being an attack here, would always count them favourites. With the array of offensive talent available to them with Coutinho, Suarez, Dembele, Rakitic, the young Brazilian Arthur coming in, they are favourites in this tie. But as Solskjaer has shown in this little campaign he has here as Manchester United manager, you don't count them out for anything at all. It really ain't it. This can be a very difficult question about to ask you here, but how do you feel about the idea that it is harder to play against United without Pogba? And the reason I ask is that I pointed it out last week in our pod that when Pogba is there, there's all the creativity runs through him. Okay, he's definitely the most creative player at United. To some extent, is the only real world-class creative player in the team too. You know, when we look at players like Rashford and Martial, they rely a lot more on somebody supplying them for their goals and a lot more on dribbling to create chances for others. But to say a genuine top-class passer of the ball, Pogba is the only one. And with Pogba in the team, you have somebody to target, as in somebody to man-mark per se, right? And when we saw against PSG is that when there wasn't nobody for them to funnel everything through and they were throwing balls into the channels, it was a lot harder for them to play against. You know, because it forced PSG to defend in areas they didn't want to, and put PSG defenders in positions where Romelu Lukaku excels at, which is bullying defenders. And I'm not saying that United are a better team without Pogba. What I'm asking is, do you think it's harder to play United without Pogba? Because there isn't that one person to target on.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's harder, but it'd be unpredictable.
Right. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think, like, you know, Pogba is having a good season, but I feel like because there's so much pressure on him sometimes that when he isn't able to do what he can, then United struggles, you know. Look at our Wolves game where there wasn't much for him. Like, what Wolves did really, really well in that game, which I forgot to point out, is that it wasn't so much a man-marking job on Pogba they did, but they really did well in trying to cut off the supply to Pogba so that the passes weren't reaching him. And that by the time the pass reached to him, all the gaps behind were closed. So there wasn't nowhere for him to pass to, you know? And, you know, Barca aren't necessarily that kind of team. You don't really expect them to man-mark. You expect them to, you know, play their brand of football. But Arthur being in really good form, Rakitic being in really good form, you would expect this Barca team to go through.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going front. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, the guy himself, Chris Smalling, said he is the only one who knows how to stop Messi, and he's not saying it until the game starts. So I'm excited to see what happens.
So as a United fan here, let's say as a scenario, right? You don't go through versus Barca and you don't make the top 6, right? The top 4, sorry. Do you think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will still get a job?
Very hard question. Because, I mean, earlier when he first came in, I wanted to give him. My criteria for him getting a job was if he beats PSG, which he did. But at the same time, I was thinking we'd have a longer run in the FA Cup.
Right.
Because I think it's very important that we still, get some kind of trophy.
No, I agree.
And the FA Cup was like the only realistic one.
Right, yeah.
But he has done very good. 3 losses since he's here.
Yeah.
He's done very, very good. And
he's beaten a lot of good teams in Iran.
Yeah, like he's been playing good. It's just the last 2 games. Well, the last game against Wolves, they didn't really play so good. And then against Arsenal, it was just that game. It was just I don't know what to say. It was unfortunate. I don't want to say it's unfortunate, but it bound to happen.
Yeah, those games happen.
Yeah, it bound to happen, right? But yeah, it depends because to get Pochettino, they'll have to spend some money, but I don't think that will be an issue.
Right, so then that was leading to the next question, right? So let's see, you do get top 4 now, right? And Spurs don't. And Spurs get trashed by City in Champions League, right? Like I talk about, they get massacred, like probably 5-1 in aggregate or something, right? Do you still want Poch?
I don't.
Like if you make top 4,
because the thing is, how Spurs wasn't doing that good in the league, like it had me questioning how good he really is now.
Right.
And if they end up getting trashed by Man City, and I really want that because, again, the reason we have him on our team is for us to compete against Man City.
Right.
And if we, I'm not to say that he won't learn from what he did, but
and there will be better resources available for Man United.
I mean, but you still have a tendency to kind of lapse into what he was doing before.
True, fair enough, yeah.
But Pochettino is very good, so I wouldn't mind, but...
You feel it'll be tough on Oli?
Huh?
You feel it'll be tough on Oli?
Yeah, because
he do the most.
He took me the contract from the last club, so he really have a job now, but
No, but I think that this showing, even if he doesn't get a United job, I think it moves him from managing in Norway to probably managing in one of Europe's top 5 leagues now, even if it isn't at United. So yep, that wraps it up this week for you guys, as always, follow us everywhere on Twitter, on Instagram at Corner Flag Talk, on Facebook Corner Flag Talk, on YouTube Corner Flag Talk. We always appreciate you guys' support. Hopefully we can get these videos up to about 50 views again this week. We have a little segment coming out for you guys soon, an interactive segment to look out for it. And thanks always for your support. Chat, thanks for joining me this week. Catch you guys in the next episode. Take care.
Fill my cup all over me, like a river over me. Once I use them, it can't go wrong. Oh, na, yes. I just can't get over you. Every single thing you do, yeah, shows that I'm on your mind. Now I feel some type of way, yeah. When I stop and check out how much you guide my days, yes. So me now, go down, if I know you, go down, right now I'm feeling another song again. It's your favor over me. Got me feeling away. Guide me another day. It's your loving over me. your favor over the I.